Okay, guys. A few things have happened here since I did the three showers video. Uh, the one was the water went out in our subdivision, and another one was the ATM machines. Three different ones from three different banks. None of them worked. And those two events inspired me to make a couple of videos. This is the first one of them to kind of provide some basic insight into how I ended up in the Philippines. Um, Try to also inspire people to try to step out. I know a lot of people that I went to school with and high school with that still stayed in Missouri, and they're still there. So the world's a big place, and I really feel that we owe it to our ancestors who dreamed of the ability to travel like we have. We owe it to them to really travel at least a little bit once in a while. You know, go see Japan, go see France, go see Paris. My goodness, what a beautiful city. Go see Cartagena, Colombia, another super beautiful city. Amazing. I used to really love San Francisco, and I'll get a little bit teary. I'll have to tell you if you get me talking about San Francisco today. San Francisco and LA used to be some of the pride of the U.S., and those cities are a little bit scary now. Same with Chicago. I used to really love Chicago back in the 1980s. I'm a little bit nervous about going there, I'll be honest. Texas is still very beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful places to see in the U.S. San Francisco is still a very beautiful city. I don't think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world anymore. Victoria, British Columbia, is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, I think. Paris and Cartagena, Colombia. But really, if you're telling yourself, and I hear this a lot, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford it. Okay, look, in the U.S., the one great gift the U.S. has to everybody who goes there. I've talked to people from Cameroon, from Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, from South America, from Mexico, and the Philippines, of course. So there's a lot of people from Mexico and the Philippines. Where we lived in Texas, there were 25,000 Philippine nationals living within a 1 hour drive of us. And of course, a lot of Mexicans living in South Texas. But Mexicans, Filipinos, everybody will tell you the beautiful thing about the U.S. is that if you want to work, there's plenty of jobs. And man, that's true. Now, I had a friend of mine in Kansas City, Missouri, who was skeptical of that and told me, no, there's not that many jobs. I walked. I walked for about maybe 45 minutes. It was a little bit of time walking, but I took 11 pictures of help wanted signs in the stores around me, and that was just a 40-minute walk. Okay, and part of that time was walking back home. Okay, so it wasn't far. So there's a lot of jobs, and not just in South Texas, but everywhere. If you're not on drugs and you're not intending to rip off the business you work with, you're really going to earn a lot of trust from your employer. And you're going to be a shoe in for an assistant manager or a salaried manager position at a place like 7-Eleven, places like that. Okay, so it's not difficult to get a part time job. Okay, just get a job at Burger King and tell the manager you want to flip the burgers in the back. You want to cook. You don't want to be on the register because you're ashamed a little bit that you're shy. People might recognize you. Okay, I don't care if you have a college degree. You can work at Burger King. You get free French fries. It's a great place to work. You will find if you get a job like that at Burger King, Taco Bell, 7-Eleven, places like that, you're going to find that some of your coworkers are better than you. They're smarter than you. They're a little bit better educated than you are, and they're working there. Okay? So it's good for your soul. It's good for your psychology to get a job at a place like that. It'll change you. because a lot of Americans think that they're better than people that work at Burger King. But the truth is, some of the best people in the country work at places like that. And the only way you're going to find that out is by getting a part-time job there, okay? So I'm telling you this for a purpose. If you get a part-time job for like 20 hours a week, just get a job working Saturdays and Wednesday night shift, okay? And, maybe fill in for somebody for a few hours here and there. All right, get, 15 hours a week, 18 hours a week, something like that. You're going to get close to $1,000 a month, all right? Maybe $800 a month. Okay, that's $9,600 a year. All right, so give me a break. You can afford it. You can afford it. Each trip to the Philippines, you should budget $3,000. Okay, $3,000. Now, what you're going to do with that is you're going to go on Expedia or some other website. Kayak is a good one. I flew to France for $300 in 2009 with Kayak because I just put on there for their email notification of specials from Houston to Paris, Charles de Gaulle Airport. And they sent me one. It was like 200 or $386, something like that. Anyway, I flew to Paris for less than $400 using Kayak. So go to Expedia, go to Kayak. All right, pay for your flight, pay for 10 days at a hotel. Put it on a credit card, okay? And then do this like 2 months before you leave. So you've got like 50, 60 days, something like that in advance. Book your flight, book your hotel, okay? Then before you take off, before your flight takes off, pay off your credit card. So the flight is paid off. Put $1,000 in your pocket and take your credit card. Have about at least $1,000 credit on your credit card. So you've got $1,000 spending money, $1,000 credit on your credit card. If you go out to eat a really nice place and put it all on the credit card. Okay. So the first thing you do when you land is you go to the hotel, of course, and you go to the mall. There's always a mall close by in the Philippines, especially if you're staying in Metro Manila or Cebu. Go to the mall and buy office barong. Ask for an office barong. barong, barong. It's a dress shirt. Okay, you can get fantastic jeans in the Philippines. The mall will custom cut and fit your jeans. You're never going to have jeans that fit better than that. So every time I visited the Philippines, I took nothing but gifts in my luggage. I took souvenir t-shirts, souvenir ball caps. Okay, they like KC, Kansas City Royals ball caps, Houston ball caps. They're like San Antonio Spurs T-shirts. That's the kind of stuff I would take. Okay, LA Dodgers, great idea. It's got LA written on the cap. Okay, T-shirts, souvenir T-shirts. South Padre Island, Galveston Island, Orlando, Florida, T-shirts. Things like that. Okay, fill your luggage with it. Take chocolates, odd things. Timex watches from Walmart. Sometimes you can find those for like $11. Get like 6 of them, different sizes, women, men's. Uh, Fill your luggage with stuff like that, okay? And then meet your girl that you're gonna find on the singles websites. And if she doesn't have a chaperone, just don't pursue it. If she has a chaperone, that's a good sign. That's a green light, okay? And then you're gonna have studied the girl. If she's from Samar, she's going to speak Waray. If she's from Cebu, she's going to speak Visayan. If she's from Manila, she's going to speak Tagalog. Okay, so find out about her. What language does she speak? Because you're going to study that language. You're going to study it enough so that you can talk to her dad. That's the key. If you know 100 words and about 8 or 10 phrases, you can talk to her dad because he'll speak some English for sure. But if you speak a little bit of Tagalog, it's really going to make a good impression. okay? And if you study at least an hour a week, I guarantee you're going to do great in the Philippines, okay? It's the same thing as going to Africa and studying French, okay, for a girl in Cote d'Ivoire, or studying Spanish for a girl that you're going to fly down and meet in Cartagena. It's the same, all right? Sure, she's going to speak some English. Yep. Is her parents? I don't know. Okay? So you definitely want to be able to speak to her parents to get the gossip on her, all right? And speak to them in private so it'll make her nervous. Keep her honest, okay? Because she's not going to know exactly what you're talking about. So that's how you do it, okay? It's easy to come to the Philippines. It's easy to find a girl, all right? Be honest. Be a good guy. I see rotten Americans all the time. Just don't be one of them. Be a good guy, all right? Try to break the stereotype that Filipinos have that Americans are really crude and drunk and just, obsessed with dishonoring honorable girls. Okay? So be a good guy. Change your life. It'll change your life. Filipinos will change your life. Then, if you decide to live here, okay, if you decide to retire here or you decide to marry a Filipina and the two of you lived in the U.S. for 3 years, we lived in the U.S. for 45 months to the day before we decided to come here and raise our kids here in the Philippines. Okay, so do it with eyes wide open. Okay, honest assessment. Live in the U.S. for a long time, live in the Philippines for a while, make a decision. Okay, that's the best way to do it. You're going to come here multiple times before you get married, so you're going to know the Philippines. Your wife obviously knows the Philippines. So it's only right that you take her back to the U.S. for a while so she and you together can make the decision on where you're going to raise kids. Now, the person who really put the bug in my ear about living in the Philippines was a guy I met at the airport. On one of my trips here, I just happened to see a guy who had a whole entourage of Filipinos crying and hugging him when he left at the airport. And it so happened that he was flying back to Houston, the same as me. So we were sitting in the same gate at, I think it was Taipei, Taiwan, for an hour. So I just went over and started talking to him and, find out what his story was. Hey, are you some kind of celebrity or something? And the thing is, he met his wife on a dating site, okay? I think it was Cebuanas.com. And he married her, and they lived in Houston for a while, maybe 2 years, and she got pregnant. And he can't sleep one night. And he can't sleep, and he wakes her up, and he says, look, I've got something to tell you. I think maybe, and he was really nervous about telling her this, I think maybe it might be a better idea to raise our child in the Philippines, in your country. And his wife started crying, and he started thinking that his wife was crying because he wanted to separate, that she's thinking that he's got a girlfriend or something, and she's thinking that he wants to separate, and that she's going to go to the Philippines with the baby and never see him again, or something like that. But she was crying because she'd been praying for exactly that. She'd been praying for that, and it's a miracle. It was a miracle in her eyes that he decided to do that. So she agreed. And so they moved to the Philippines because he said, in Houston, we could afford an apartment. He had a nice apartment, but he couldn't afford a house, not a nice house. And he could send his kids to public school, but not private school. And in the Philippines, they could afford a really nice house. And they could send their kids to a really nice private school. And they're not going to be exposed to drugs. They're not going to be exposed to teachers teaching them promiscuity. They're they're going to be raised in a very Christian, very traditional, very conservative environment. And that's what he wanted. And that's what she wanted for their kids. So he set his wife up with her family to help raise, and every time he gets a vacation, he comes and visits. And of course, each time he comes to visit, 9 months later, another baby comes along. So he's got multiple kids now. And he was only a few years away from retirement. I think that was 2008 when I saw him. So I'm sure he's living here somewhere now. So he really put the bug in my ear about that, about really that you could do it here. Another case that I ran into was a woman who married a man that she met in the Army. I think he was a Clark Air Base. And they lived in the U.S. for several years, and she had a baby girl. And he died. I forget if he died in combat or he died in a car accident or he just had a heart attack or something. So he died, and she's a single mother. So she has the option of raising her little girl in the U.S. alone or going back to the Philippines and raising her in the Philippines. And that's what she did. She raised her in the Philippines, and with her widow's pension from the U.S. Army, she sent her little girl to a fantastic private school. The minute she graduated college, she took her U.S. passport and just came back to the U.S. and started working. So, I knew her as an American. I didn't know that she'd been raised completely going through school and everything in the Philippines. So that was another case that really inspired me that, you can get an excellent education here and then move back to the U.S. if you've got a U.S. passport. So that's a benefit, for our kids. So if you do that, if you decide to live here as a retiree or, you're raising kids here, you need to be prepared for all kinds of disasters. What are you going to do if the ATMs go out? What are you going to do if the water shuts off in your subdivision for several days? You have to be prepared for these sort of things. I've got a solar powered cell phone charger. I've got a water filtration system that I bought because I worked at a camping store, and it's for backpackers to use. So I can make 1,000 gallons of filtered water out of mud if I have to. I can filter Dr. Pepper into water. So you have to be prepared. Water is important. If you've got some wood, you can cook. Filipinos can cook with a little bit of wood. We've got a dirty kitchen out back that's an open kitchen with a wood fire, and we can make rice and we can cook. And so we don't need much. I was thinking of buying a generator, but we don't have a generator. Um, I really don't think we need one. I think we're going to be okay. Uh, we mostly live without AC. I'm from South Texas, so the temperatures here are comfortable. Here's a fun fact, okay? It's June. It's June 23rd here now. So June 22nd back in the US. On the 19th of June, I think it was the 19th, it was 2 in the afternoon here. It was 1 in the morning in Laredo, Texas. And the temperature and the humidity here in Cavite, Philippines was exactly the same as the temperature and humidity in Lubbock, Texas. No, Laredo, Texas, at 1 in the morning. So that's close to the lowest they're going to get. The lowest temperature at 1 in the morning is the highest temperature we're going to get here in Cavite. And the humidity was the same. So don't give me that about heat index. Okay, it's the same. So Laredo is much hotter than the South Texas where I lived. So, but still, I'm used to temperatures much, much hotter than this. There's only been 2 days so far. We lived here 7 months. There's only been 2 days that I told my wife, I'm going to turn on the AC. I'm uncomfortable. I'm going to go take a nap in the AC. Okay. So we can live, I think we're going to be fine without electricity for several days. If it's a big typhoon that's coming, something like that, a super typhoon, we'll just fly my wife and her family to Mindanao. Her family's from Mindanao. They'll be way, way south of the typhoon if it hits Luzon. I'll stay in the house and safeguard our stuff. And I'm a little bit of a survivalist, a career firefighter, and I've got solar powered chargers for my cell phones. And yeah, there's not going to be a signal for a while, but I'm going to be okay. Uh, you know, it's not a big deal for me. But cash, okay? We spent 80,000 pesos giving birth, 3 days in the hospital. So if you've got $2,000 cash, or on a credit card, which is what we have. We've got a credit card that's several $1,000s that we keep empty, so we can use for emergencies like that. We can fly back to the U.S. That's going to be about $1,000, okay, round trip ticket. You can just drop it on the credit card. All right. If you have an emergency at the hospital and it's going to be surgery and you're going to be there for several days, it's probably going to be less than 100,000 pesos. So it's $2,000. Okay. So $1,000 for an emergency flight back in case something happens in the U.S. $2,000 for emergency medical costs. So just keep a credit card with $3,000 or at least $2,000 credit. Keep that empty. And I think you'll be okay here in the Philippines. Be prepared for loss of water. Be prepared for loss of electricity. Be prepared for the ATMs not working. And we were okay. Everything's going good here. So even though the ATMs weren't working and all our water went out, we're still good. It's okay. So come here with your eyes open, okay, and be prepared. Come with some extra money. If you've got $3,000 budgeted, okay, you can spend maybe $1,800 on Expedia or Kayak. Pay for your round trip flight, pay for your hotel up front. Your hotel, your flight's taken care of. Pay off the credit card before you fly and have an extra $1,000 cash. You've got an empty credit card you can use for really good formal dinners, and you've got plenty of cash. And I guarantee you, even if you give $100 bills as pasalubong, which is what I did to my wife's family, I hand out a $100 bill here and there. You're still going to buy clothes. You're still going to buy a lot of this and that. You're going to go back with a full suitcase, even though you emptied it full of your gifts when you arrived. 10 days later, you're going to go back with all kinds of stuff, and you're still going to have like 180 bucks in your wallet. You're not going to spend that $1,000. It's not going to happen. Now, there are guys who come here that go to bars, okay, and look for, girls of ill repute, the walang hiya girls that they describe them here. And you're going to get into trouble, okay, and you're going to end up in jail, all right? So I'm not going to talk about people like that. I'm not going to talk about people that come here to supposedly party, all right? I'm not going to talk about drunks and girls of ill repute. That stuff belongs in Mexico or Taiwan or Thailand, places that where that's legal, where it's socially acceptable. Here it's not. Here they're very conservative, very traditional, very religious people. If you're of a similar mindset, you're going to do well here. If you're not, if you're a little bit skeptical about organized religion, if you tend to drink too much, if you want to party, I don't think the Philippines is an ideal place for you to retire. So those are my thoughts. I want to make sure you come here with your eyes wide open, prepared. Take care. Have a good day.